Alright, hello. I think I've showed you enough influence slop for another week or so. So instead, I'm gonna showcase today two incredible melee weapons that you can absolutely use on your arsenal that are not influence, and that they in fact do a hell ton of damage. So, we begin with what I think is the best staff weapon in the game, better than the Polearm Prime even, and it's actually the Tipedo Prime. Now, there is a big difference on why this is, in my opinion, better than the Polearm Prime. And we can see it directly if we check its damage differential. Every staff type of weapon that you try to use on this game, if we use only staffs, right? Staffs are not polearms, they're not the same, they have a different stance mode, and the stance mode is goated for something like melee afflictions, but Tipedo Prime is the only staff in the entire game that is slash based. If we look at Orthos, this is a Polearm. Amanata, Polearm, which, spoiler alert, is the second weapon we're gonna look at. Legion, Polearm, Sidon, Polearm. You know, all these other things, the Guandao and the Guandao Prime, these are all Polearms. The only staff type weapon that is based on slash is Tipedo Prime. And this gives it a huge advantage. I know a lot of people think that slash is a bit weak nowadays and not that great, but when you combine slash with a weapon with really decent riven disposition, really decent base range of 3 meters, and then you add more range and class in forest when paired with this combo is absolutely goated, by the way. The final attack, 400% plus 200% at the same time, and then the knock up from it, it's so powerful. So yeah, that's basically what makes this. Add condition overload, add any primer pet of your choice. I'm gonna add a Panzer, and then this weapon simply does so much more damage than anything else that you can imagine. Now, the huge advantage Polearm Prime has to this is obviously that because of the encounter form, it has a lot more range on its own. You don't actually have to mod for it as much, and even higher riven disposition than this one. But the damage on this one really makes up for it because the slash procs stick for a lot, and I do mean a lot. So I'm gonna go with this Wisp just to provide attack speed to myself. If you don't have a Wisp or anything, you can simply put Arcane Strike on the same build and it will work just fine because of how it's implemented. I sadly don't have anything on Belly of the Beast to give me a survival. We have a Kuva survival though. The Tipedo and the slash weighting, when you have a weapon with so much slash damage, you get some crazy results when you actually put afflictions on it and try to do really cool stuff with it. I'm not gonna protect any harvesters or do anything. I'm simply gonna melee. No buffs, just the attack speed buff from the attack speed flower. As I said, Arcane Strike if you don't have it, and immediately you can see the issue. Everybody is knocked up immediately by the stance. The afflictions is working pretty much all the time, and every time it works and it adds the slash proc, the enemies just straight up die. It does so much damage. 136k without any viral procs or anything, just a weapon. And then with viral procs we get to 600k, and then you attack more and it increases even more. Like it gets ridiculous. Plus the heavy attacks also knock down and they can also apply a slash proc. So it really is just a really big difference in damage when it comes to DOT. And when you pair it with any primer pet like the Panzer Popafila, any Sentinel, any Hound, anything that can actually prime for you a bit, like even just viral procs from Panzer are more than enough, but the more the better, obviously, because you do have condition overload. 1.1 million on that guy, 8.3 million damage. In general, like, it is so insane. I know I didn't showcase my Riven. I know I'll get some comments about the Riven because obviously people don't actually watch the showcases and what I have to say. They just take the build and leave as is. Or at least some people do. Many people actually watch these, and I appreciate those people a lot. But yeah, in general, you get 11 meters of range when everything is maxed out on this, and those 11 meters of range will not benefit a lot because of the 50%. Wow, that's a way to pronounce percent. Wow. It's like I had lisp for a second. That's crazy. Alright. So 50% punch through. If you have a Gauss, you use his second ability, you can make that 100% regardless of weapon, which is really great. And aside from that, you also have the chance to just increase your range using even more modes. I do have range on my Raven mode. If I remember correctly, my Raven mode is like range and crit chance or something, or range and crit damage, I don't remember. We'll see. But overall, the big difference on this is obviously this last Raven. This even without a Raven goes really hard. With a Raven it goes even harder. And in my opinion, in comparison to a Bow Prime, this is actually way better. I have both weapons Raven modded with multiple Raven modes on the Bone Prime as well, and only one Raven mode on this weapon. And I can tell you already that this is straight up better, especially when it comes to damage. And I know melee influence, the slope, 11 million damage on that guy, by the way. No roar. Can we talk about that? Anyway, I know a lot of people will still not listen to this opinion, and that's fine. You can have your own opinion about it, or not leave your comfort zone, because obviously the Bow Prime, a lot of people may already have it and have it built and don't want to change. And why would they spend another 100 plat or so to get a Tipedo and a Raven mode for it if they already have a Bow Raven mode that they spend potentially hundreds of plats on? There is no reason to change now, and I understand that, but for me, this weapon is in fact the better Bow Prime. We all saw that nullifier, by the way. And it's straight up damage, like even before you add afflictions and everything, its base damages and what it does is still really good. The moment afflictions comes into play, it just completely breaks it. And obviously the heavy attacks from Tennokai, no matter the weapon, those will always hit. So. But yes, you can imagine this with any type of Warframe, like a buffing frame. This weapon becomes absolutely ridiculous. If you have something like Valkyr or Varuna with purple shards, if you have something like Gauss, that's for melee, something like that. All these Warframes, they just elevate damages on melee weapons by a lot. In general, if you want to play a melee weapon, you should play a melee frame, or at least a frame that can give you attack speed, in my opinion, or provide Arcane Strike to your Warframe of choice. For example, if you have Lavos, you should use Arcane Strike on Lavos, so you can avoid using any types of attack speed modes on your melee weapon when they're not needed, of course. Some melee weapons will still need attack speed depending on how good the stance is and how fast it is, and also their base attack speed. But Tipedo Prime is thankfully not one of them, because it has a really good stance mode on its own that is really fast, and a base attack speed of 1.17, so very strong overall. And in my opinion, the best stuff in the game. Still, I'm saying still because I did make a video back when I was doing all the, what do you call them, all the top melee weapons for each category shenanigans, and that video still holds up pretty well, I would say, for most of the stuff. We'll see some changes in my opinion, but overall it still holds up pretty well. And yeah, it's this weapon is pretty good. It was ranked on that video the best staff weapon, and it is, as you can see, for a very good reason. It is very strong. And I could showcase something a lot stronger by adding a melee frame, but on one hand, I will have to appease to the people that say you should use a Warframe with the least buffs as possible, and on the other hand, I have to appease to the people that say I want to see how much damage you can actually squeeze out of this weapon. So I will not do either. I will simply use my Wisp and just play it like I know, without any type of damage buffs. I did not use Eclipse only once in this mission, or actually even once, I should say, because it wasn't pressed at all. And yeah, I think that should be good enough. The other weapon, spoiled it already before, Amanata. It has two insane modes that are kind of unique to it. One is Boreal's Contempt, which is Polearm specific, and the other one is Amanata Pressure. And the one thing that I will say that has changed since the video I made about Polearms is that Twirling Spire is a way better stance than what I had it out to be because of this. This is a very, very strong, straight up hold E mode. And I know. It's very funny to just hold E and then go forward with Blighting, Simmering Blight or Bleeding Willow, but if I'm being so for real, this is so much more damage that it's 100% worth it. It is 100% worth it. I do have a Riven mode for the Amanata, but I'm not gonna use it. It has gas and it's pretty good, but I don't really need it. As you can see, the Amanata is missing the impact, which lowers our damage from condition overload here, which makes Amanata Pressure the better choice. But Amanata Pressure also adds the random status effect to our heavy attack. And since the heavy attacks on these weapons also knock down and are 600%, if it's some random status effect that has a DOT, it will also get boosted by melee afflictions. And then after that, Galvanized Elementalist and Boreal's Contempt can work onto it. As you can see, on this one, I have Prime Fury as my preferred mode of choice for the extra attack speed, because Twirling Spire is a fairly slow stance, which is why I didn't like it initially, but with this, it fixes it by a lot, and you can use it on any type of melee weapon you actually want. And you can simply drop Galvanized Steel for this. You can straight up drop it. Even if you don't use something like, let's say, Wrathful Advance, Kullervo himself, Voruna, anything that gives you crit chance, you don't actually need this. You can simply go for this. The DPS difference is good enough, and Galvanized Steel does not actually provide that much more DPS as I would have thought when I was testing. So this one was actually doing a lot better. So that's the actual build I ended up with. So no attack speed or anything. You can see that not very strong, but the bleed procs is insane because you add two of them at the same time. Twirling Spire has a combo, this neutral combo that does one knock up and then one knockdown immediately after. So it procs afflictions not once but twice. And when combined with a third afflictions proc from your heavy attack, your damage just skyrockets. This is one of the best stances in the entire game to actually abuse afflictions, and I had no idea. And yeah, I'll kind of let the weapon speak for itself a bit here. I mean, the only bad thing about this stance though that I don't like is the fact that it kind of hinders your movement, but the damage is pretty incredible. And obviously, if you have attack speed covered, you could slot in Galvanized Steel instead of my Prime Fury mode, and you will be absolutely fine. Especially because this weapon can give you attack speed, but I think the final crit chance that it provides also helps you quite a lot. Now I did get the melee has increased damage from the mission. I'm not sure how much that actually does. I haven't looked into it, but yeah, the moment you proc afflictions, it's kind of over. The enemy just explodes immediately. I don't know. Like the instantly explode. It might not do enough damage immediately, but one afflictions and it's over. This is also why I think the Guandao is a bit better than this one. The Guandao has the potential to go for condition overload instead of a specific mode. Which, you know, you lose Amanata's Pressure passive, but you're absolutely fine with that in my opinion. And if I remember correctly, the Guandao probably has a bit more range, but I might be wrong on that. Let's check. Okay. Amanata has 3 meters and Guandao Prime has... oh no, they're the same range, okay. For some reason, because I'm an old player, I always think of the Guandao as this big stick, obviously. And yeah, this Amanata build if you replace Amanata Pressure with Condition Overload, can be applied to pretty much any Polearm weapon of your choice. So if you like the Orthos Prime, if you like the Guandao Prime, if you like some other stuff, you can use it. I think Sidon is an exception because Sidon is puncture based. And Sidon you can do some really funny stuff with melee Dodi instead. But yeah. Here is I think the biggest reveal of why Tipedo is a bit better than this one. As you saw, those enemies had overguard through an ancient healer. When that happened on the other mission, we didn't really have much of an issue getting through the overguard. The Amanata, because it's lacking some base damage due to it being an MR2 weapon, will have that. But you have to remember one thing. Amanata is a weapon that's mastery rank 2. You can get it as like your second melee weapon in the game, maybe. Like maybe even first after the one that you get from the tutorial. For what you're getting, Amanata is absolutely goated for early game. Like, it's so powerful. And yeah, I know you're gonna say stance modes and all that, but if I'm being so for real, it's not that hard to get the stance modes. Also, this guy Malice, you're really showcasing why my damage sucks here. Anyways, as I said, if you have enough attack speed from other sources, definitely replace Prime Fury with Galvanized Steel to have more initial damage aside from the Affliction Stroke going to heaven. And you should be absolutely fine. The double Affliction Stroke is still extremely funny, and the faster you get it, the more damage it is. Overall, still very strong. Instead of Prime Fury, you could definitely do Quickening or Berserker Fury, depending on how much you want to use the weapon. If you're using the weapon pretty much all the time, probably Berserker Fury, but if you're using the weapon in between your primaries and your secondaries, then Quickening is 100% the better choice. Which is why I personally like it way more. I'm a big fan of Quickening, not gonna lie. But yeah, Amanata is very goated weapon. MR2, crazy stats, its own augment that gives you a really strong heavy attack, melee afflictions, and arcane that's fairly easy to get actually. You get it right now. You can literally get it from Belly of the Beast very quickly and get a lot of value out of it on a lot of your melee weapons. Like, aside from the Iron Arcanes you get from Belly of the Beast, you can also simply do the Jade Arcanes now much quicker because of the sister dropping the extra volatile modes or whatever they're called. Vestigial modes. I don't remember which of the two are the correct one, but I know the melee arcane itself, you don't get it early and you have to spend 20 plat, but it's kind of worth spending the 20 plat to actually get it if you haven't done the new world yet, go to Deimos and all that, obviously. But yeah, not bad. Also, I'm staying here just to get my Nightwave challenge. Don't mind me. It's also a pretty fun weapon overall. So why not? I'm going to the wrong direction. Also, hold up. I heard you. I knew I heard it. Oh my god, free forma. Yeah, that's why you play with Sandon. Let that be a lesson. 30 minutes credit boosted. Wow. But yeah, these are the two weapons for today. The Tipedo Prime, definitely the bigger highlight today when it comes to actually playing the game in the late game. But the Amanata, I think, is just a weapon that not many people give it enough praise. Not because it's way too strong or anything like that, but because it's only MR2. MR2 is nothing. Look at the stats of this weapon for an MR2 weapon. It's pretty crazy. The Guandao Prime, obviously, double the base damage, but still. MR2, thank you very much for watching another video of mine, and I'll see you on the next one.